Okay, so I am going to demonstrate how to set up your paper for your watercolor color wheel that we will ultimately turn into a mandala. So you're going to want to create a square so that we can center our circle in the very middle. And this paper is 9 by 12. So we can do a 9 by 9 square, which means 9 away from 12. That leaves us 3 inches that we have to get rid of, right? So if I want the square in the center, that means we divide the 3 inches in half, and it's 1.5. So 1.5 here and 1.5 here, and we will have a 9 by 9 square in the very, very middle. So the way that we would do that, we would make 2 marks at 1.5. And then we would line our straight edge up to connect both of those marks. And there's 1.5 at this end. And we would do the same over here. It's 1.5. 1.5. Connect those 2 marks. And now I have a 9 by 9 in the very middle. Put this over here. So at that point, now we need to find middle so that we can create our circle with our little homemade compass here, which if you have a regular compass, you can use it. And if you do not, then there's a video to show you how to make this as well. But I'm going to go from corner to corner right here, and it needs to be pretty precise. And I'm going to then do an X. The X in the middle of the square will find me the middle of the square, okay? So again, very precise from corner to corner. And that gives me the very center of my square. And that's when I'm going to get my compass here, my homemade compass, and a push pin. I'm going to put the little push pin through the first hole, and I'm going to line that pin up perfectly with the very center of my X. Perfectly, okay? Now, I'm going to hold that straight up and down. I'm going to plant my wrist so there's weight on my wrist pushing down on my paper. That way my paper isn't going to slide, okay? And I'm going to spin my paper around and just see how far out on the holes I can go without going off the paper. And this last hole is at the very, very edge. I'm going to go ahead and do that because I want the biggest circle I can, and it is real close to the edge, but I'm going to go with it. So what I do is I put my paper close up to my hand, put my pencil in the hole I want to use, spin around till I touch my hand, and then I stop. I'm not going to try and lift my hand and draw under my hand and do all that, because that would just knock my circle out of alignment, because it's going to make my pen angle shift and and the angle with which you're holding your pencil. So I just keep my tack in the same exact spot, lift the weight off my wrist, and move my paper. Then I put the weight back on so that the paper won't move. Make sure this is straight up and down. I haven't moved or adjusted anything really, except for lifting the weight, shifting my paper, and putting the weight back. So everything's in the exact same position, and my circles line up pretty much perfectly. So now I have the largest circle I can put on the paper, centered in the middle of the paper, okay? So our next step, we are going to divide this circle. We need 12 even sections. Okay, so to get our 12 even sections, we're gonna use this little tool here. And I'm gonna take this line at the bottom of our arc here, and I'm gonna line it up to this line. And then I want my 90-degree line lined up with this perpendicular line, okay? So you could see this line is coming in and it's running even all the way across, and then this line is coming right up the 90-degree line. And now I'm going to come in and every 30 degrees. So right at 30, I'm going to make a line. Right at 60, 90's already got one, 120, and one at 150, okay? And now I just need to use the mark I made and the very center of my X, and I can create even pie pieces all the way around. So make sure that your straight edge is lined up to the center of the X and the line that you made, and then run it all the way through. Okay, and if you use the center, then everything will line up to the center of this. You'll have neater, nicer pie pieces than if you try to measure all the way around and then connect the measure point to measure point. Then your center gets off, and then it doesn't look as nice. So we don't only need to measure half, and then use the center of our X all the way across. The line I marked, the center of my X, all the way across, and now I have 12 even pieces on my pie chart here, my color wheel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. And that is our initial setup. From here, we will start to paint.